halfway over this book. I'm really loving it, but have been having like some really hard weeks, so I haven't finished it yet, but I'm gonna try to finish it between today and tomorrow, but no pressure. This is just a little mental health trip, reading, connecting with myself again. So let's see. Fly! Fly! Anda! Anda buat! Good morning. I have been reading a bit. I read one of the essays from Having and Being Had. I liked it a lot. I liked the first one. I was just like waking up. And I also finished a chapter on the book Open Season. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do today. Maybe visit some of my mother's friends and meet like new people. But in the meantime, I'm just walking. I had the idea of doing that newbie tag for like new books, the grammar, book talkers, booktubers thing, but I don't know. I'm not going to be an influencer. I don't want to be an influencer. I'm posting this, and if I post this, I'm filming this like for me. I want to start and create more than just consume, and YouTube was something that I always like consumed a lot. Also wanted to try and live life a little bit like slower, in a slower way. I don't know how to explain that. Also trying to connect more with books, but for example, I read a lot, but I don't write reviews because I think that I cannot write, and I don't write even if a million of book ideas and stories like come to my head. It's the same with like choreographies and art and other things, and I used to as a child, and I want to bring that back. I want to create again. So yeah, I think that's the idea of this. I also can't be bothered to edit a lot. Like, I like it. Also, it used to be a thing that I liked. Now I think it's just going to be like a big step between like me filming things and posting it. So I'm going to edit the least like possible. And also, I don't know, I film a lot of little clips. I don't know if they go together. I don't care about like monetizing like the video, so I think I'm just gonna put music that I like. And if I do sit down videos, those are like the easiest ones because I don't need to I don't know how to explain, because I don't know to edit them and put music or whatever. I can just talk, and I love to talk, and people always say that I talk a lot, so I think I'm gonna use that. But yeah, my hair is super long now. I think that's it. I'm a bit sad. And I think that's noticeable, and you can notice the difference in my energy, because I am pretty heartbroken at the moment, but still have a lot of changes and amazing things that are going to happen, so I think I'm okay. So just had my therapy session and some calls that I needed to do. Now I'm gonna chill a bit. It's really warm, so I'm laying down in the caravan with Dino. And yeah, I think I'm gonna listen to a podcast, read a bit, and then try to eat something for dinner. I think that's it. I'm not sure if you can even hear anything that I'm saying, but I can hear a lake to read, but my dog is loving the water and he loves the water. So yeah, I'm just gonna read a bit. I'm finishing open season today, and that's it. I'm seeing a lot of butterflies and a lot of like crickets and things like that, and I'm really happy. So yesterday I finally finished open season. I have been wanting to read this book for a long time. I cannot remember how I found out about it, but I wanted a book that explored like polyamory and different non-monogamous heteronormative like relationship dynamics. And I know some non-fiction books about it, but I really wanted like a fiction one. So yeah, I finished it yesterday. It took me like 2 weeks, but I had a lot of things during these 2 weeks emotionally in my life, and also I read other books in the meantime. I read the short story collection and some essays from other books. My opinion. So I think the book itself doesn't explore polyamory exactly. Like it explores how you in a relationship and how you relate to people romantically, sexually, intellectually, like impacts yourself and people around you, and how different dynamics have different effects. And it's really interesting. So I'm gonna do kind of a synopsis of the book, of my view of the book. The book follows, like it says, like two couples, and I would describe them as like one of the couples is married. What is married? They have been together for a long time, and the other couple is more like recent. They're getting to know each other, but they're really like passionate about each other. So there you already have two like loving relationships, and that are in different stages of the relationship, or are just different by its nature. They are different. And it's really interesting because the book for me doesn't, it's literary fiction, so it doesn't focus on the plot, it doesn't focus on the couple by itself. It's not a romance at all. It has romantic bits, but it's not a romance. And at the same time, it has a really good characterization of like the characters. The characters are, you really feel them as people. They are full, they have flaws, they have characteristics, they have their own tastes, their own hobbies, their own like insecurities and problems and backgrounds, and that part is just absolutely amazing. For example, it's not, a lot of the times when you're writing and you have like two main like women in a book, you make them like a dichotomy, I think that's how you say it, like opposite to each other, or when you have two men or something like that. And I don't feel like that this book made that at all. But it's really interesting because they were full on people. Like the characters were full on people. They were not just flat at all, and I love that. I also, so continuing on the plot of the book, because I lost myself as usual. The two couples, they both want to explore being with other people, so they both want to explore, they both want to explore being like in an open, I'll say like that, like relationship. And they go around it like in different ways. Like the married couple, they have been thinking about it for like some time already. The other couple, one is more afraid of like committing and like really loving the person, and is like, am I ready for this? And the other person is a person that has never been monogamous and has never been in a monogamous relationship, and is a person that it's more used to those dynamics. Yeah, so in the beginning, it's really you getting to know, sorry, my dog is walking around, you getting to know the characters and getting to know their situations and their own relationships. And it's really interesting because you get to a point where you start to see the fragility of each relationship and the fragility of each person, and how that plays out in the book. And I don't want to spoil the book. For me, it's not an unhappy book at all. It's not a sad book, but it's really interesting because it's not always the ones that you think that is like more than set that are going to thrive. There's no like hint or inherent like characteristic that you can have or your relationship can have that makes it work. It's not like one thing that makes it work. It's not like, oh, because they have the same hobby, or they're really good friends from the beginning, or that they have similar like interests and political views and things like that. It's not always just that makes a relationship work. At the same time, it also shows how things from your past, how your childhood, how your relationships in your childhood, how growing up, how your relationship with yourself really molds, informs you, and conditions you to the relationships then you get into and you allow yourself to get into, and the deepness that you allow yourself to fully give yourself to the relationship, to the dynamic that you are trying to create. And it's really interesting. It's really, I found it fascinating. At the same time, because like I said, it was not an easy 2 weeks for me. These last 2 weeks, I wanted something more easy to read and fun, and not but at the same time that touched like different dynamics of relationships, because I am a person that likes to relate to other people in a non-normative way, or non-heteronormative, monogamous normative way. So I wanted a book that I could see, like, that could reflect with it, like I could see myself in it, or even if I didn't see myself in it, I could use the characters of the book and try to reflect about my own life. And it got to a point that it did, not in the way that I wanted, but yeah. So at the same time, I think it got to a point that I was like, oh no, on these 3 days specifically, I cannot read this book because it's really going to affect me. But I finished it yesterday, and I'm still trying to understand the ending. I'm still trying to come to terms with like the ending of the book and how I feel about it, and how I feel about these couples, and how I feel about their dynamics, all of them together, the dynamics of each of them, with their own selves and ambitions and hobbies and lives and trauma, and at the same time with the impact that you have, because your story, your preference of dynamics, your trauma, your baggage, whatever you want to call it, it impacts you and impacts the people around you, and not in a necessarily bad way, but it does. And it's really necessary to take that into account. And this book is interesting. I liked it a lot. I gave it like a 4.5 stars. I'm probably going to reconsider it and probably being like a 4.75. I don't know, because I'm thinking more and more about it. The characters, I think I didn't give it more because it was not what I was searching for. Specifically in that moment, I didn't want a romance, but I wanted something more like a romance, but that had a more similar like dynamic to the dynamics that I like to experience in my life. And it ended up having that, but not being the center of the book at all. So I don't know, I liked it a lot. So I think I'm gonna finish this video here. I'm going away tomorrow, so I think it's the perfect timing. I can edit it, I can read a bit more, feel the warm weather, just be with myself, be in nature, be with my dog, be with my mother, and just connect a bit more until I go away. So see you in the next video.